Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be updating my Pan Those eyeshadow palette series. This will be the 5th update in this series. So if you haven't seen the rest of the videos, the playlist is linked down below, so you can start at the beginning if you would like. But otherwise, we are going to jump into today's video. I do have a different setup today. I don't know why, I just felt like sitting on the floor, so I'm sitting on the floor today. And I kind of have some bigger changes that I've decided to make to this year's project. There's a few different reasons for it. I made the change of adding in a single shadow last month, and this month I'm adding a few more twists to the project just for, I think just for the month of June, but we'll see. I've got some exciting news that I'm going to be sharing with you guys in the next couple weeks. So that does play a role in these adjustments, but I feel like we've got a lot to cover, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into this video. This is a hybrid project between Pan Those eyeshadows and Pan That palette, where I'm working on 3 palettes at a time, plus my single shadows, to either use them up or hit pan or hit a usage goal, some variation of usage on my palettes and my eyeshadows. I'm working on a quintet of shades plus a single shadow, so it's kind of 6 shades rather than 5 shades, but I'm working on 5 shades from these palettes, so I will show you what 5 shades I was using last month. From my Glambition palette, I had the shade Known For. From the NARS Atomic Blonde palette, I had the shade Kink. And then from my Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, I had the shades Eden, Blood Moon, and Twilight. And here is the single shadow I had rolled in last month, and that is the H&M Cream Fusion shadow in the shade Gentlewoman. So let's go ahead and jump into talking about the first palette, which is the Glambition palette. I will show you what it was looking like last month. And here is where we are this month. You can see some pretty big jumps in here, I think. So the shade that is in my quintet is Known For, which is this shade right here. And my goal is to empty it. My total goal is to empty this whole palette this year, and I feel like I'm making some really good strides towards that. So we'll go ahead and talk about Known For first. I've had this in the project for about 3 months now, and I honestly haven't gotten a ton of usage on it yet because I was focusing on some other shades first. But this last month I did try to focus in a good bit more, and I have seen some good progress on it. I think you can tell there's a noticeable difference in the pan size. I used this a total of 11 times this last month, which put me at a total of 24 uses within the project. I do think this still has a decent amount of time left on it. I have my threshold goal of 50 uses, where if I hit 50 uses on a shade, then I can roll it out if I would like to. I think if I hit 50 uses on this, it'll be really, really close to being done. Whenever I finally get to that number, I would like to try to get there sooner rather than later. So I would like to put some more emphasis on this shade next month. I don't know that I necessarily care to do more than 10 uses in the month. I think 10 is probably a good number, but I am really happy with the slow and steady progress on this, but I do want to focus on it a little bit more. So hopefully we'll see some good progress next month like we had this month. It's not like a ton of progress, but you can tell that there is some change within the pan size in general, but also like down here, it's got a decent amount of use. So I think I'm fairly close to side pan there. So I may be able to hit side pans on this soon, and that would be really exciting for me. So I'm not positive how long this one will take me, but I am feeling really good about it overall. And I'm particularly feeling good about this palette in general. So we'll go ahead and talk about the whole palette real fast. This first shade over here, I am super excited about. This is the shade She Was. I have used this a total of 73 times within this project, and you can tell it's almost completely gone. This is, I don't even think this is gonna get me through the rest of next month. I think I will definitely use it up. I've been using it in my inner corner almost every single day, and I really love the way it looks. So it's kind of bittersweet. I feel like I've been really enjoying the shade, but it's kind of exciting to get it done because it's another shade emptied. So I'm really excited about that one. Then Infamous and Seeking we will talk about together because I always use them together. These shades I have used a total of 125 times within this project, which is crazy, and you can see pretty good movement on them, I think. They're both thinning out pretty well. I do think I'm gonna empty Infamous before I empty Seeking, which I'm a little concerned about because I don't love using Seeking on its own, but I could probably find some other way to use Seeking other than in the crease, but I do use them together in the crease, and I really love how that looks. I think it works really well. I'm gonna continue to do that. I don't think I don't think I'll get them done next month, but hopefully in July. Hopefully in July. If not July, I think August, I will have those 2 shades emptied. Then we've got the Most right here, which I think you can see some good pan expansion. Like, it's definitely wearing pretty thin in the middle. I've used this a total of 20 times within this project, so I have a lot more usage to go on it for sure, but I think I can get it done by the end of the year, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. And then we've got the shade Over the Top right here, which is this deep brown, and that one I don't think I'm going to be able to get done in the year. I have used it a total of 102 times, which is quite a bit, and you can see the pan expanding, but it's just one of those shades. You don't need a whole lot of it. It's going to be difficult to use it completely up within a year. So we'll see. I still have so much product in there. I don't know that there's any way I'm going to be able to get it completely used up. I'm just kind of using it right now because I really love the tone of it, and it works because it's within this palette, and I've been using a lot of these shades within this palette. I've honestly been focusing on this palette the most, at least within this last month, where I've just been so into this palette that I've not wanted to touch my other ones. But I think that, especially with Over the Top, I may try to change my usage and just like leave this one alone. I don't know. I kind of just want to focus on it and try to get it used up, but we'll see. I may try to give myself the goal of using some other shades within these palettes in particular, because I do have 2 other dark brown shades that neither one have pan on them yet, and I would like to get those used up. So I will probably be giving this one a little bit of a break, but right now I'm really happy to have it at 102 uses within the project. That's a good number of use. And that's everything with the Glambition palette. My next palette is my NARS Atomic Blonde palette. I will show you what it was looking like last month. And here is where we are at this month. So I am covering up the highlight because that is in my other project, but I will talk with you guys about this palette real fast. It's kind of awkward to hold it this way, so I'm gonna close it here in a minute, but the shade that I have in my quintet is shade Kink right here, and I'm pretty happy with my usage on it. I feel like you can see a good change in it. I did only use it 9 times, which is not a ton, but like I said, I still think you can see a change within the shade overall. I feel like there is a dip forming in the center, so that's really exciting to see just within 9 uses, because these are pretty firm shades. They don't move a ton. So it's kind of interesting that this one is moving more quickly than like especially Isolde 2 moved. So I have used this a total of 17 times since the start of the year. I don't know that that's gonna go very quickly. My goal with this one is just to hit pan for now. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that within 50 uses. I'm gonna have to see. It's kind of difficult to know how quickly you will hit pan on something, especially when it's like, this is a more glittery formula than like Isolde 2 was, so it is a little looser, I guess, of a shade, but I'm not positive how that's going to work out as far as hitting pan. I'm gonna go ahead and close this because it's kind of difficult to hold it like that, but I'll quickly talk about the other shades within the palette. So I didn't use this palette very much this last month. I was pretty well focusing on the Marc Jacobs Glambition palette. So this one did not get nearly as much usage as it has in the past. So some of these numbers may be exactly the same from last month. Icon only has 32 uses. Isolde 2 has 47, which I think is the exact same as before. And then Galapagos I've only used twice. So I haven't really been focusing on this palette very much right now. I am just, I don't know, I'm really into, honestly, the look that I'm wearing today is the look I've been into, and I have not wanted to wear like anything else. So none of the other shades have really been doing it for me. Even though I have a really beautiful quintet right now, it's really, really cohesive and nice, but I've just not been into those shades. I've not really been wanting to wear them. I've been wanting to wear this look or something very, very similar to this. And I kind of just have been letting myself do that because it's been getting my Glambition palette really good usage. So I don't mind doing that, but that does mean I've been neglecting this palette and my Huda Beauty palette, which is a little bit of a spoiler, but we're about to talk about that. So I'm not positive. I think that with Kink, I did have the challenge of using it 10 times this last month, which I just missed, but I think that I will have that same challenge again next month, and hopefully I will have some good use to show for it next time. But yeah, that's where we're at with this palette. And then with the Desert Dusk palette, I will show you what it was looking like last month. And here is where we are at this month. So the shades within the quintet are Eden, Blood Moon, and Twilight. So we will talk about them really quickly. Eden, I don't know if you can see too much of a shift on. However, it is the shade in this palette that I've used the most. I have been using this as a blush shade, and I've really, really, really been liking it. It's been a great blush shade. I feel like it's perfect for the summer. It's like got that peachy tone to it that just works great. I have actually used this a total of 23 times this last month, which is a total of 23 within the project. I hadn't used it before this last month when I rolled it in. And so it's just at 23 uses for right now, but I've been really loving it. I also have been using it in my crease. I will go in with the Infamous and Seeking shade to deepen up the crease, and then I'll just do a light wash of that right in, like, to blend it out. And I feel like it adds such a nice warmth to my eyes where it also matches with the blush. It's just, I really love how that's been looking. I really like how it's been, I don't know, I've just really been enjoying that, and I think that's part of the reason that I've been liking this eye look. So I have gotten a lot of use on that one. I will continue to get a lot of use on it. Honestly, if I follow my 50 use threshold, I would have this, I could easily have this finished up this next month if I decided to just push and use this like every single day. But I don't intend to do that. It's just something fun to note. I could if I wanted to. It won't be in the project too long, I don't think. I realize that I've been talking about Eden and Blood Moon out of order. Normally I would be talking about Blood Moon first, but I reversed them in order in my head, so we're gonna just go with it. The next shade is Blood Moon. I actually have not used this shade very much. So when I rolled it in, it already had pan. I knew that I didn't want to empty this shade. It's a beautiful shade, but it's just not something that I'm interested in emptying because I know how long it takes to empty eyeshadows, and I don't love it that much. So my goal was just to use it 25 times. However, I used it 2 times the month that I rolled it in, and I only used it 3 times this last month. And to be perfectly honest, I'm tired of it. I don't want to wear it. It's not a shade that I'm excited about right now. Like I said, I'm wanting to wear this kind of an eye look, and this shade is just too deep for me right now. So I'm actually going to go ahead and roll this shade out. I'm just not excited about it at all, and I don't want to wear it. So I'm not going to force myself to do that. I'm going to roll the shade out, roll something else in its place, and we're just gonna call that one good. I'm gonna remove it from the list, like the option to be rolled in. Honestly, I'm just not excited about Blood Moon, Amethyst, Royal, Turkish Delight, Saffron, or Blazing. I just don't really care to use them. And they're really beautiful shades. They do a really good job. It's really cool to have them, but I'm not excited about them. They're not the vibe that I like to wear 9 times out of 10. And so I think I'm just gonna remove them all from the list because I don't really care if I even hit pan on them. And I would feel much more excited about using all the other shades within this palette and even emptying all the other shades in this palette over using those ones and even hitting pan on them. So I'm going to remove all of those from the list. I'm not going to worry about them. I don't want to use them. If I decide later on in the project, hey, you know what, I do want to work on them, I can bring them back. But right now, they're not really my vibe. They're not the kind of makeup that I like to wear. I like a much more natural look, something that's more easygoing and approachable, and it's just not really my thing. So I'm gonna not roll those in. I'm just gonna remove them from the list. I'm not worried about emptying them up. I'm not gonna worry about hitting pan on them. It's just, those are the shades that they are, and we're gonna move on. And then finally, with the shade Twilight, I had the goal of using this one 10 times this last month, and I didn't do it because, again, I only wanted to wear this look. So I only used it 3 times. That does put me at a total of 25 uses within the project. However, I think I'm going to just leave it in for 1 more month and then move on, because it has been in since the beginning. That would put me at 6 months of working on this shade, and I don't feel like I need to keep it in for longer than 6 months. I'm gonna see how far I can get within this next month, and then I will roll something else in its place. Hopefully I can use it more like 10 times next month. That would be really great. I would really love to do that, but again, I'm not really concerned about getting to my 50 use threshold on this one. This palette is really beautiful. I really like it, but again, it's not really, honestly, if I look at this and I'm honest with myself, it's not my vibe. It's not my style. It is much more bright and vibrant than I care to wear on a daily basis. So I'm happy to get use on it. I'm happy to have had it in my collection, but I want to work through it faster, and I'm just at a point where I'm kind of like over it now. So I do want to finish up some of these shades. There are some really great shades in here. Like I said, I've been loving using Eden, and I do love Twilight. Like if it were a single shadow, I would love to have it in my collection. I think it's just a gorgeous shadow. So there's some shades in here that I actually do really love having, but I'm also just kind of like, the rest of them I don't really care. So I want to get use on the ones that I love and the ones that I really, really do enjoy, and the rest of them I'm going to kind of just pretend they don't exist. I'm not going to declutter them like I did with Cosmo though, just because I may want to pair them with the shades in this palette. I haven't done that a ton. I kind of doubt I'll do it very much, but I want to have that option if I want them, or if I want a more vibrant look. One final note on this palette, and then we'll move on. You can see that I have gotten a ton of use on Desert Sand. I am very, very close to having this one finished. It will definitely be done this next month. I've used it a total of 124 times within the project, so it's on its way out. I think that in the next 2 weeks, I'll have it done. So that's really exciting. That will be the first shade that I will actually have completed out of this palette, which, I mean, it's the beige shade, so I'm just setting my eyes with it, but it's still a win, so I'm gonna count it. And then we will go ahead and touch on the single shadow. This is kind of a bonus section to the project for myself, where I'm focusing on using my single shadows and trying to decide whether or not I want to keep them or declutter them, and then eventually I will go ahead and work through them. Now, last time I mentioned that I wanted to work through the shade that I rolled in. I wanted to use it 5 times within the month and then determine whether or not I would keep it or declutter it. And part of the caveat to keeping it would be that if I keep it, I have to work through it as my next palette in this project. Now, something I didn't really think about is I have 21 single shadows, and using one a month to decide what to keep and what not to keep will take a long time. It'll take more than just this year to work through. So I think I would definitely have 1 or 2 of these palettes like finished up before I would be ready to move on to that single shadow palette. So I kind of altered my plan a little bit. My refreshed goal with these single shadows is to use them up to 5 times within a month and decide whether or not to keep them. And as soon as I make a decision on it, I just go ahead and roll in another shade and make a decision on that one. And once I finally do work through all 21 shades, I will hopefully be around the time where I would want to roll them in as a palette to work on. But for now, I'm basically just working on condensing my single shadow collection so that I don't have them just sitting there. Like I said at the start of the video, the shade that I had rolled in this last month was the H&M Cream Fusions shadow in the shade Gentlewoman. It is this beautiful dark purple shade. I really love this shade. However, I used it twice and I've learned that the shadow is bad now, which sucks because I really didn't get very much usage on it, as you can see. But when I was using it, the pigments have completely separated. So you could see as I was blending it out and everything, like there was a very distinct blue shift wherever I was blending it. And it was like the blues and the reds had like separated, and it didn't look right. It looked really off and I really didn't like it. And I was like, there's no reason to waste time on that. So this shadow, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to declutter, and I'm just gonna dump it out of here because this is actually a really nice jar. So I'm gonna keep this jar, but I'm gonna just empty out the shade because it's way expired. So I'm not gonna keep this one. Again, that's really sad because I did really like it, but I figured that out really early on in the month. So then I went ahead and I rolled in another shade, and that was my Naked Cosmetics loose pigment in the shade Mother Nature. I believe they have an interesting way of like naming their loose shadows, where it's like, this is Mother Nature, I think number 6, because they have other Mother Nature shades. So this is I think it was number 6, but it's a dark, it's kind of like a similar color to Gentlewoman, where it's like kind of a deep purple, but it's got a like blue green shift to it. It's very, very pretty. I'll show you what it looks like. This is it here. It is a very beautiful shade and I really do like it. I like how it shifts and it's very cool. But after wearing it one time, I was like, I don't want to wear this. Like, I didn't want to wear it again. I was like, yeah, this is nice. This isn't what I want to wear. So I just knew at that point, I was like, if that's how I feel, like if I don't have any excitement about wearing this again, then there's no reason for me to keep it. So this one I'm also going to declutter. And since I discovered that really quickly, I went ahead and I decided I was gonna go ahead and test my second H&M shadow because it is another cream shadow. And so I was like, you know what, if that one's gone bad, this one has probably gone bad as well. So I decided to try it. This is in the shade Sirocco. I always have trouble with that one. But this one I did hit pan on last year and I've gotten really good usage on it. I really like the shade a lot. And so I decided, I was like, oh, I want to try this and see if it's still good. And honestly, it seemed fine. I don't know if it's just because these pigments mix better or are easier to mix or what, but this pigment seemed fine. Like everything in this seemed fine. It didn't bother me. It doesn't smell bad. It doesn't smell off, but it worked okay. It was really good. I still really like it. So I'm going to keep this one and I'm going to try to work through it eventually. But yeah, the other one just seems to have separated completely. This one seems fine. So I'm gonna keep this one, but I've already decided I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. So I ended up working through 3 single shadows last month rather than just the one, which is very helpful because it'll get me closer to that goal much faster. But all that said, now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump back into the quintet and the side shadow. So like I referenced before, I am going to make a few adjustments to this project, and it is due to the news I referenced earlier that I will give you later on this month. But I'm going to go ahead and swatch the shades that I will be keeping within my quintet, and then we will discuss what it is that I'm doing. All right, so we've got Known For here, we've got Kink here, we've got Eden, and then we've got Twilight. So these are the 4 shades I'm keeping within the quintet. And then I am actually going to be adding a shade, so it's not going to be a quintet. But what I'm going to be doing, instead of rolling in another shade from the Desert Dusk palette, I'm actually going to be going back to last year's project and finishing up my Lorac palettes. So if you watched my project last year, you will know I worked through both of these palettes and worked to finish them up. I decluttered some shades. I used a lot of shades, but in my Pro 2 palette, I still have these 2 shades where I have black, which I don't really have any interest in finishing, and I have the shade Mocha, which I do want to finish. You can see there is almost nothing left in there, and I want to get this used up. I think I can do it within the month of June, so I want to make sure that I do it. This is the goal. I want to empty Mocha this next month. And so I am going to have this in my quintet, and I am going to work on finishing Mocha, as well as I'm going to work on finishing up Corduroy here in my Pro Matte palette. So you can see there is Burgundy down here, which does have pan, and then there is Corduroy, which has very little left, and I want to finish up Corduroy completely. So I will be focusing on this instead of Over the Top, which is a good thing because I will be getting this one done. And I do think I can get this done this next month, particularly if I keep doing looks like this. And then I'm going to call both of these palettes done at that point. I don't care to finish up Burgundy and I don't care to finish up the black shade in here. So at that point, I will consider these both complete. I will probably actually go ahead and just declutter black and Burgundy out of these palettes just to get them completely emptied. And then I'm gonna call them done. I don't have any reason to keep them after that point, but I wanna get those 2 shades done. I knew I wanted to get them done since last year when I finished out the project. So I'm gonna go ahead and focus on those. And I know a lot of you guys that watched last year's project wanted to see me finish those 2 shades in particular. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna finish those shades this next month. That is my primary goal. I am going to push on those and make sure that I get them done. I really think that if I put all of my efforts into finishing them, I can get them done, honestly, probably within like 2 weeks. So I'm gonna really focus on getting those 2 done, which means, again, this is my quintet, but I'm not gonna roll another shade in. I'm just gonna focus on finishing these 2 alongside working with these. And that's what we're gonna do. but we are going to be rolling in a single shadow shade. So out of my single shadows, I have 18 shades left that I can roll in. So I've got the numbers 1 through 18 here, and I'm going to randomly generate a number, and we will find out what we're going to be working on this next month. Number 3. Okay, so that is actually my Lorac Franken shadow that I had created. So this one is probably going to get rolled out pretty immediately. I'm probably going to declutter this one because I remember feeling with this shade like I liked it, but I didn't love it, and there was really no reason to keep it. But I'm going to work on it. It's funny that I'm working on it while I'm working on my Lorac palettes. That's kind of ironic, but yeah, I'm going to see about this one. I will probably move through it pretty quickly and roll something else in to try to decide whether or not I want to keep those shades, but I will need to repress this because it's a terrible mess in there because I had dropped it. So I'm going to need to repress it and see how that works, see if it's still any good, see if it's a shade that I want to use, and then from there, I will determine whether or not I keep it in my collection or I declutter it. But yeah, I'm not going to swatch this one right now because it is, like I said, it's a mess in there. I'm going to need to clean that up before I swatch it. I will take a picture of it and swatch it for next month so that you guys can see it, what it looked like after I had done that. But I'm going to edit this video as soon as I finish it up, so I won't have time to repress it and then add it to this video. So it'll be on next month's video what it looked like. And you know, I think I'm actually going to roll another shade in because I feel like I said, I feel like I'm going to make a decision on this really, really quick. I don't feel like I even need 5 uses on most of these shades to determine whether I want to keep it or not. So I'm going to go ahead and roll another shade in. I feel like I'm adding so many shades to my palette this month, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. Let's generate another number. Number 10. Number 10 is actually in my magnetic palette. It is the shade Empowering, which actually will go really well with the Franken shadow, ironically. It is this shade right here. It's kind of like a purpley tone. I will swatch this. So this is what it looks like. It's a really pretty like taupey tone, and I do tend to like those kinds of tones. So I may actually really enjoy this shade, and there's a good chance I'll wind up keeping it because it is very, very pretty, and it's light enough that I feel like I could use it on a daily basis and not get bored with it. So I will have all these shades within my collection this next month, which is a lot of shades. But again, my primary focus is going to be the shades Mocha and Corduroy from the Lorac palettes. And then as far as my quintet goes, my quartet goes, I do want to try to get 10 uses on all of these shades, honestly. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that on Twilight, though Twilight and Empowering would go very well together. So who knows, maybe I will actually be able to do that. But I think with Known For and Kink, I definitely want to get 10 on both of those, and then I don't think I'm going to have any trouble getting 10 with Eden. Like, that's just going to be a really easy thing because, like I said, I'm loving using it as a blush. So the focus shades are the Lorac shades, but I want to do 10, 10. This is going to be easy to get like 15 or 20, and then hopefully 10. But we will see because it will be, you know, it's a lot with trying to use up those Lorac shades. I don't know if these will be able to be used with those shades all the time. Again, I don't think those are going to take me long to use up though, and these are all really cohesive shades that work very well together. So it may actually work out for me to do that. But that is everything for this video. I feel like I was a little bit all over the place, so if I was, thanks for sticking with me. I am really excited to be sharing an extra 2 videos with you guys this month. I will have my empties and purchases video that I will do at the end of the month, as well as a little bonus video giving you guys the news that I talked about. And I am planning to do it like in a get ready with me style. So I've never done one of those before, so I'm gonna give that a shot. But this next week I will have my 2022 Project Pan update. I am filming that a little later this week, which is later than normal in my schedule, but I will be filming that midweek this week, and then I will be posting it next Sunday. So stay tuned for all those updates, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're excited about these adjustments to this project and that you're feeling as good as I am about them. I'm really excited to see some major changes within my eyeshadow collection. I feel like there's just so much that I own, and I'm really tired of not using the shades that I love the most and not feeling excited about it. Just kind of, you know, using them to use them. I want to use shadows that I really, really love. I want to be working through my shadows without feeling the stress of working through them. So I'm trying to make this a little bit more fun for me and by extension for you guys. I hope that you're enjoying this project this year. I feel like it's been a lot different than last year's. Maybe it doesn't feel that way to you guys, but for me, it's been feeling very different. I think just because I'm realizing how much I love certain looks and how much I want to wear them and how excited I am for them. So I'm ready to be working on those shadows and not be wearing these shadows that are nice and beautiful shades and really cool looks, but just not my favorite thing to wear. So anyways, I feel like I'm rambling, but thank you so much for watching. If you are interested, I do have a few looks from this last month that will be at the end of this video, as well as overall updates for my quintets and the palettes at the end of the video. I don't have as many looks as I normally do because I was basically just wearing the same look every single day. So I didn't want to keep taking pictures of the exact same look. But as always, thank you so much for watching and being here with me. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.